So it's Wednesday the 5th of February 2025, Advaita Saptami, Advaita Acharya's appearance day. So we're going to give the whole time just to glorifying Advaita Acharya. So we'll have a bhajan first, and we're going to sing Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Doya Kora More. So I want to read the translation first. O Sri Krishna Chaitanya by Narottam Das Thakur. O Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu, be merciful to me. Except for you, who in this world, who in this material existence is so full of compassion. This is what we're going to open out today, the compassionate nature of Advaita Acharya Prabhu. We are all so grateful for him today. The reason for your descent is to deliver the fallen souls, O Lord. You will not find anyone else as fallen as me, Narottam. O Nityananda Prabhu, who is always joyful in ecstatic love, glance upon me with compassion, for I am very sorrowful. O Advaita Goshai, husband of Sita, be kind to me. By the power of your mercy, I can surely attain Sri Krishna Nitai. Sri Chaitanya Nitai. Alas, O Swarup Damodar Goswami, Sanatan Goswami, Rupa Goswami, Raghunath Das Goswami, O Gopal Bhatta Goswami, Raghunath Bhatta Goswami, and Sri Jiva Goswami, O my master Lokanath Goswami, give me your mercy. Be merciful, O Prabhu. Srinivasacharya Narottam Das begs for the association of Ramchandra Kaviraj. So we'll chant this bhajan. In the regular book, it's on page 96. Okay.
Dandavat pranams to all the assembled devotees, the Vaishnavas and Vaishnavis. So we'll start with this song, which is a very merciful song. Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Doya Karo More. Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Doya More. Toma bina ke dayalu jagat samsare. Toma bina yalu patita pavana hetu sabhavatara. Patita pavana hetu sabhavatara. Prabhu Nityananda Premananda Sukhi. Prabhu Nityananda Premananda Sukhi. Kripa bolo kana koro ami boda dukhi. Kripa karo na koro bale pai Chaitanya Nitai Kripa bale pai Chaitanya Nitai Aha Swarupana Sana Upara Gunata Rupara Gunata Vata Juga Shri Jiva Prabhu Lokanata Vata Juga Shri Jiva Prabhu Lokanata Doyakara Sriyacharya Prabhu Srinivas Doyakara Sriyacharya Prabhu Srinivas Ramachandra Sangamage Narottama Dasa Ramachandra Sangamage Narottama Dasa Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Jai Radha Madan Mohan Radha Madan Mohan Radhe 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 Jaya Radha Vinod Bihari Radha Vinod Bihari Radhe Jaya Radhe Jaya Krishna Jaya Radhe Jaya Krishna Oh Jaya Radhe Jaya Krishna Jaya Radhe Jaya Shri Krishna Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol Nitai Gaura Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol Gaura Hari Bol Jaya Jaya Gurudev Gurudev Jaya Jaya Gurudev 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 Jaya Jaya
Jai Prabhupada, 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 Prabhupada. Jai Shishi Guru Garangagan Haviga Girihari Radha Madan Mohan Ju Ki Jai. Jai Nityananda Roy Ki Jai. Jai Sachinandana Gaura Hari Ki Jai. Jai Shri Advaita Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. Jai Nitya Lila Pravishta Om Asto Tarasat Shishimad Srila Bhaktivedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. Jai Nitya Lila Pravishta Om Asto Tarasat Shishimad Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Jai Nitya Lila Pravishta Om Asto Tarasat Shishimad Srila Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. Jai Jagat Guru Nitya Lila Pravishta Om Asto Tarasat Shishimad Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Prabhupada Ki Jai. Jai Paramahamsa Mahabhagavat Srila Gaurkishore Das Babaji Maharaj Ki Jai. Jai Saptam Goswami Srila Satchidananda Bhakti Vinod Thakur Ki Jai. Jai Vaishnav Sarvabhauma Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj Ki Jai. Jai Srila Baladev Vidyabhushan Gaudi Varantara Ki Jai. Jai Srila Vishnath Chakravarti Thakur Ki Jai. Jai Narottam Srinivas Shyamananda Prabhu Treya Ki Jai. Srila Krishna's Kaviraj Goswami Ki Jai. Shri Rup Sanatan Shibata Raghunath Shri Jiva Gopal Paradasa Raghunath Sat Goswami Prabhu's Ki Jai. Jai Swarup Damodar Rai Ramananda Gaura Parasada Ki Jai. Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai. Pray Sika Hol Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Shri Gaura Bhakta Brinda Ki Jai. Arupa Nuga Guru Varga Ki Jai. Advaita Saptami Ki Jai. Jai Ananta Kota Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai. Go Premanandi Hari Hari Bol. Om Agina Timirandasya Gyananjala Shalakaya Chakshu Unmilitam Jena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Guruve Gaurachandraya Radhikaya Tadale Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktaya Tarabhaktaya Namo Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Shtapitam Jena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kathamayam Tadati Swapadantikam Priya Surupe, Daita Surupe, Prema Surupe, Sahaja Rupe, Nijan Rupe, Prabhueka Rupe, Tatana Rupe, Swavila Surupe, Anapita Chirim Chirat Kurunavartino Kalo, Samarpaitam Unnata Ujvalarasam Svabhakti Shriyam, Hari Purata Sundara Tutikatam Sadipita, Sadahridare Kandare Sparatu Vasachinandanaha. Yam pravajanta manapetyam apetya krityam dvaipaino viraha katara ajuhava putre titam mayatayo taravo benedustam sarvabhutam hridim munimanatoshmi bhaktiya vihina aparada lakshay shiptascha karmadi tarangamadye kripamayi tvam sharanam prapana brinde namaste charanaravindam. Bhajami Radham Aravinda Netram Smarami Radham Madhurashmitasyam Vadami Radham Karuna Paradram Tato Mamarasti Katyana Kapi Tavaivasmi Najivami Tvaivina Iti Vignaya Radhe Tvam Nayamam Charantikam. I'm first of all offering millions and millions of Dandavat pranams unto the lotus feet of my beloved Gurudev Nitya Lila Pravishta Om Asto Tarasara Shishimad Srila Bhakti Vedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj. And I'm offering the same again millions of times unto the lotus feet of our beloved Nitya Lila Pravishta Om Asto Tarasara Shishimad Srila Bhakti Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. And on this most sacred day, I'm offering my Dandavat pranams unto the lotus feet of our dearmost Sri Advaita Acharya Prabhu. And to all the Vaishnava and Vaishnavi devotees of the Lord, my Dandavat pranams to all of you. Vanchakalpa Turubhyascha Kripa Sindhavyevacha Patitanam Pavanibhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. So today we will all three of us here will all three offer some Puspanjali to invoke an auspicious atmosphere on this most sacred day of the appearance of Sri Advaita Acharya. So to begin with, Shama Didi, she will speak something of the earlier pastimes of Advaita Acharya. Advaita Acharya Ki Jai.
Dandavats pranams everybody. So all glories to Sri Guru and Sri Gauranga.
Go ahead.
All glories to Sri Chaitanya and all glories to Sri Sitanath and all glories to Nityananda Prabhu along with all the devotees. Thank you Maharaj for this opportunity to glorify such an exalted personality as Advaita Acarya, and Dandavats pranams to all the devotees present here today. So, once Sadashiva, the five-headed form of Lord Shiva, he was looking at the Kali Yuga and he was feeling very sorry for Kali Yuga is so full of miseries. So he was wondering how people could be delivered in a time like this. So Sadashiva means Sada means always, and Shiva is one who is always joyful in the heart. So he is always joyful, and so he wanted everybody to be joyful. So he was wondering how to help these people who are all suffering so much because of such a lot of miseries in Kali Yuga. So then he and Yogamaya both sat together and had a very long discussion, and then finally he came to the conclusion that the only personality who could deliver the people of Kali Yuga was Hari, and nobody else can do it. So then thinking, so he wanted to take the help of Hari, so he went to the milk ocean, and on the shores he sat down. Being a yogi, he sat for yogic meditation. He sat there and started meditating on the Lord for 700 years. And finally, Mahavishnu gets pleased with him and he appears before him. And when he appears, Lord Shiva starts to praise Lord Vishnu, which is undescribable. So then the Lord gets really pleased and says, why are you praising me so much? I am not different from you. We both are in two different bodies, but we are one. So so saying, he comes and embraces Shiva, and they both become one. A very beautiful form appears, a golden effulgent, very luminous form appears, and so Lord Shiva, I mean, it is very difficult to understand the pastimes of the Lord who cannot be described or cannot be understood by people like me. And so then Vishnu says, see, first you first descend in this form in the womb of Labha. So Labha was the wife of a resident of this one, Jagannath, Shantipur, so in Nadia district. So Mahavishnu says, first you go appear in her womb in Shantipur. So she was wife of Kuvera Pandit. So then the Lord agrees to it, Lord Shiva being pleased. And this Kuvera Pandit is a very scholarly person, that's why he's called Pandita. He had a full knowledge of the scriptures, and also he was working for the king at that time, and so he was in the court. So naturally he was very, very qualified. So this person, that's why he was called Pandita. And then Kuvera Pandita had many sons, but none of them survived. And so both the couple, husband and wife, they were feeling very sorry for this. And so eventually when he comes to know that his wife has conceived again, so he starts praying to Lord Narayana. And so they were living in a different area very close to the king. So but then at that time he goes to Shantipur, and then there they start performing very serious devotional practice to Lord Narayan, and then also starts feeding the poor people and all that, so to get some sukruti. And then the king calls him back because his service was needed. So when the king calls back and says, come, I hope you have some good news for me now. So then Kuvera Pandit says, yes, his wife is conceived. And so then Kuvera says, not to worry, you are such a nice person. You will be blessed with a nice child. By then an astrologer appears there from nowhere, and he predicts that they are going to have a very blessed and spiritually gifted child. So then, after saying so, this person vanishes. That astrologer is nowhere to be seen. So it was very surprising for the king. So then he says, see, so this prediction of this unknown astrologer will definitely come true, and he pacifies him that way. Then after that, soon, his wife is also very happy, and finally after the time of gestation period was over, this baby was born, and just as the astrologer had predicted, he was very effulgent and very beautiful form the baby had, and he had both the qualities of Lord Shiva and Lord Narayan, and then being very pleased, this couple, they started giving a lot of gifts to the Brahmins and the poor. They started feeding and things like that, and then soon the child grew, and both he was called as Kamalaksha. So Kamalaksha and the king's son, that is a prince, both of them went to the same teacher for studying, or the school. So they were both friends. And so one day while they were going to school, they went to a temple of Kali, and then this prince, he started, as soon as he saw the deity of Kali, he fell down, prostrated himself and paid his obeisances, while Kamalaksha didn't do it. So the prince suggests to him, that he should do, because that is etiquette. For when you see the deity, you should first prostrate. So immediately Kamalaksha said he was not willing to do it. He shouted very loudly and wanted to get out of the place. So when he shouted, roared so loudly, that prince, he actually fainted and fell down. So looking at this, everybody became very tensed, and soon Kamalaksha himself took some Ganga water and put it in the boy's mouth, and he chanted something, and immediately the boy came back to life, and the king was very happy and pleased. But then they realized that this person was very special. Then another instance was there when he was going with his father. The same thing happens. They visit a Kali temple, and he doesn't pay his respects. So then father instructs him that he should pay his obeisances. Then Kamalaksha, he says, there is no need for me to pay respects to demigods and goddesses, because I am surrendered to Narayan. It is like feeding, when we are pouring water to the root of a tree, that is going to satisfy all the branches and the leaves. So there is no need for me to separately make an endeavor to prostrate to Kali. So that is what he says. But again, father is not so convinced. So he asks him to prostrate, and so he obliges and he pays his respects. Immediately the Kali Vigraha, where the Kali was manifesting, shatters into thousands of pieces, and the whole audience who were there all get shocked by what has happened, and immediately Advaita or the Kamalaksha, he disappears from the spot. Then after that he never comes back. So mother and father, they are very worried, and soon he gets word from him through a letter that he is at Shantipur, and so immediately, for both father and mother, knowing his whereabouts, they go to Shantipur, and they are very happy to be reunited. I think I will stop at this because my time is getting this one. My Prabhuji will continue. Thank you everybody. Please forgive my mistakes or ignorance. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripasindhuyavacha patitanam bhavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo.
Thank you, Shamaji. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Okay, so now Mangala Prabhu will offer his Pushpanjali.
Dandavat pranams to all the assembled devotees. Om Ajnanatimrandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Sakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Namo Vishnu Padaya Radhikaya Priyatmani Shri Srimad Bhakti Vedanta Narayan Iti Namini. So today is the most glorious appearance day of Srila Advaita Acharya. So I'm trying to say something in brief, and I'd like to thank Bhaktivedanta Tridandi Maharaj for giving me this opportunity. So as we all know, when Mahaprabhu took his sannyas and then he came back, his intention was to go towards Jagannath Puri. So he was inquiring from different people on the way to go to Jagannath Puri. So somehow according to the plan of Nityananda Prabhu, so Mahaprabhu was misled and he ended up, in fact he thought that the Ganga was Yamuna, and he started following that course, and then finally he ended up in Shantipur. So as soon as Mahaprabhu reached, so he immediately sent Nityananda Prabhu with the instruction to go immediately to Navadvip and get all the residents to come and meet him, because most of the devotees there, they were just living with almost like a lifeless state, because they came to understand that Mahaprabhu has gone away, so probably not coming back ever to Navadvip. So when Nityananda Prabhu collected everybody, starting with Sachimata, then they all came to Advaita Prabhu's residence, and there was a huge kirtan, and all the devotees, it looked as if their life had come back, and they felt so joyful on seeing the wonderful effulgent form of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And so this celebration went on for a few days, and Sachi Mata made the request that she should be allowed to cook for her son, and so everybody granted this wish, and she very nicely engaged herself in cooking for the pleasure of the Supreme Lord, and also for the pleasure of all the devotees. So this way, after a memorable stay at Shantipur, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu took leave of all the devotees and headed towards Jagannath Puri. And Advaita Acharya was so shocked in having to part with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he almost fainted, and he wanted to follow Mahaprabhu, but Mahaprabhu forbade him. And Mahaprabhu instructed all the devotees at that time that they could come and visit Jagannath Puri every year and spend, almost the 4 months of Chaturmasya along with his company. So this way he took leave, and then he went to eventually reside in Gambhira in Jagannath Puri. So during one of these trips, when Advaita Acharya along with his wife had visited Jagannath Puri, he went and invited Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to take prasadam at their place. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu gladly accepted the invitation, but there is only one small problem. Advaita Acharya wanted Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to come alone, and so
Shut up. Shut up.
yeah
Come on, shut up.
so to accept prasadam. And so what happened was, at this point, Lord Indra, understanding the inner desire of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu created such a heavy rain, and there was even a big hailstorm, and it became dark everywhere. So normally Chaitanya Mahaprabhu would be accompanied by many sannyasis. So whichever place he went to take prasadam, and beg for alms, so all the sannyasis would accompany him. So Advaita Acharya specifically knew that if Mahaprabhu comes with all these devotees, he will not take prasadam to his heart's satisfaction. So because the weather turned so bad that most of the sannyasis who started, they lost their way and they didn't even know where they were going. So this way finally only Mahaprabhu ended up in the house of Advaita Acharya, and so Advaita Acharya was very happy to receive Chaitanya Mahaprabhu alone, and his wife Sita Devi had assisted Advaita Acharya in cooking a very grand feast. And so by the desire of Advaita Acharya, so Mahaprabhu took the prasad to his full satisfaction. And so as he was taking this prasad, he left small remnants of each of the preparation on his leaf plate. And finally, Mahaprabhu asked Advaita Acharya, do you know why I am leaving these remnants of each preparation? So then he explained, I just wanted to see how many preparations I have eaten. And so this way he surprised Advaita Acharya. And so after the Lord finished his meals, Advaita Acharya started offering prayers to Lord Indra. And so obviously Mahaprabhu knew the whole plan of Advaita Acharya, but still he acted kind of ignorant. And then he said, Advaita Acharya, why are you offering your prayers to Lord Indra all of a sudden? So then Advaita Acharya said, oh, don't worry, it's something that's that is, I didn't, So finally, Mahaprabhu explained to Advaita Acharya, yes, he knew very well about his intention, and now he said, you must be very happy to have had Indra's assistance. Okay. So, one more time when the two brothers, Rup and Sanatan, visited Jagannath Puri, and Mahaprabhu told the two brothers that if you want to receive pure love of God or prema bhakti, then you have to grab hold of the lotus feet of Advaita Acharya. So once they heard the instructions from Mahaprabhu, so immediately they fell flat at the lotus feet of Advaita Acharya and offered him many prayers. So Advaita Acharya became very pleased, and he blessed them, saying, with my body, mind and speech, I bless both of you to have prema bhakti, the topmost gift in every respect. So soon after hearing this, Mahaprabhu became very pleased, and he started chanting the name of Lord Hari loudly. And one other day, again in Puri, Mahaprabhu was sitting with devotees headed by Advaita Acharya and Srivas Pandit. And so Mahaprabhu asked Srivas Pandit, can you please tell me what kind of Vaishnava is Sri Advaita Prabhu? So Srivas replied after thinking a little, I consider him similar to Sukadev Goswami or Prahlad. So Mahaprabhu became very distressed at this reply of Srivas Pandit, and as an affectionate father would reprimand his children, so Mahaprabhu gave a slap to Srivas Pandit, and Mahaprabhu said, "What did you say, Pandit Srivas? You are saying my nada is like Sukadev or Prahlad?" In front of nada, Sukadev Goswami or Prahlad, they are like infants. And oh Srivas, you have given me such distress today. I was lying down in the ocean of milk, and it was the call of nada that woke me up and brought me to this material world. So finally, in Chaitanya Bhagavat, there is a beautiful mention of what we call this Sata Praharya Bhav Mahaprakash pastime. So Sata Praharya means 21 hours. So for 21 hours continuously, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu sat on the throne of Lord Vishnu in Srivas Angan, and he revealed that he is personally Lord Vishnu. So during this period, he entirely concealed his mood as a devotee and openly exhibited himself as the Lord of Vaikunta without any reservation. And so the devotees, according to the instruction of Mahaprabhu, they performed a very grand Abhishek ceremony by bringing thousands of pots of water from Ganga, and which was like Abhishek fit for a king. And so Mahaprabhu smiled and looked at Advaita Acharya, and he revealed the inner sentiments of Advaita Acharya. So he reminded Advaita Acharya that you used to teach Bhagavad Gita. In fact, Mahaprabhu's elder brother was a student going regularly to Advaita Acharya's place and studying Bhagavad Gita with him. So you were teaching Bhagavad Gita and you would explain every verse according to its devotional meaning. And sometimes when you could not find the devotional meaning of a verse, you would become very sad and you would give up all enjoyment without finding fault with the Bhagavad Gita verse itself. So once when Advaita Acharya experienced this, he could not find the devotional meaning of the verse, so he felt very distressed and he went to sleep without taking any food, any prasadam. So at that time, Mahaprabhu appeared personally in front of Advaita Acharya and gave him the actual meaning of that verse, the devotional meaning. He revealed it to him. And and he then urged Advaita Acharya, get up, you can go and have your prasadam. Because if you fast, it is, even Krishna will fast, and this is not good. So this way, and finally, when Mahaprabhu was in a very benevolent mood and he was offering benedictions to all the devotees who are assembled there, because he said, if you are going to have darshan of me at Lord Vishnu, you should ask for a benediction. I am bound to give you something because you have taken my personal darshan. So Advaita Acharya folded his hands and asked for a beautiful benediction. He said, Prabhu Mora, ye vara Murka Nicha Patitera Anugrahakaha. So I'll repeat that. Prabhu Mora Evara Murka Nicha Patitera Anugrahakaha Kara. So what does this mean? O Lord, my desire is that you bestow mercy on the foolish, the wretched. The foolish means Murka, and wretched is Nicha, and the fallen is Patita. So this was the beautiful benediction which was received by Advaita Acharya on our behalf. So how is that going to help us? Yes, definitely it will help us. So anytime we are chanting the Mahamantra, if I have the attitude that I am the most foolish, and I have the attitude I am the most Nicha or Adama, the most wretched, and if I sincerely believe that I am the most fallen, then definitely we are bound to receive Lord Chaitanya's mercy. There is no doubt about this. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhu bhayavicha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha.
Thank you, Bilvamangala.
Dandavats Maharaj.
Dandavats. Thank you so much. Thank you. So very beautiful Pushpanjalis by Bilvamangala Thakur and his good wife Shama, showing us the potency of this personality we're glorifying today. So I'll offer some Pushpanjali and hope that I will be inspired by it. Jai Ho, Srila Gurudev Ki Jai, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai, Arupanaga Gauravarga Ki Jai. I'm trying to get myself in the picture as well as Gurudev, but it's not really going to work out. So just for now, I'll just have to put me in. But Gurudev is there, his lotus feet are there. So yes, such an exceptional day we're celebrating today. And of course, Advaita Acharya is Vishnu Tattva. And all Vishnu Tattva, Nityananda, Balaram, who else? Ram, Chandra, we honor by fasting from grains. So this is the standard to appreciate. And there's no compromise with this. So Advaita Acharya, as we heard from Shamadidi, is manifesting from the desire originally from Sada Shiva. Sada means eternal, as well as always. Eternal Shiva, the eternal. There's four aspects of Shivji. There's Gopeshwar Mahadev coming from the right-hand side of Brajendranandan Sham Sundar in Goloka Vrindavan. And then there's Sada Shiva, then there's Shambhu, then there's Rudra. So these are the four manifestations. So Sada Shiva, who always resides in the spiritual world, he had this desire to benedict the conditioned souls in this particular time in Kali Yuga. And of course, this was an inspiration ultimately by Yogamaya Devi. And then coming to Mahavishnu, the two together, they merged into the beautiful form that Shama described and manifested as the son of Kubera Pandit, Advaita Acharya. And we understand the tattva of Advaita Acharya. He's the cause, the nimitta, the cause of all creation. And he's also the material nature, the prakriti itself. He's the cause, he's the upadan, as well as the nimitta. And every Advaita Saptami, we hear this same description. And my Gurudev has described these two terms very simply. The nimitta is the cause, and the upadan is the material nature. And he gives an example. He says, like if a man is beating a dog with a stick, the stick is the upadan, and the man himself is the nimitta. So this is a very simple description of the, and Advaita Acharya, he represents both of these. He's both. He's the cause and he is the effect, the efficient cause, which is this material world. So we understand that Mahavishnu himself is glancing at Maya, and that glance is carried by Shambhu. So already they have a relationship prior to this manifestation of Advaita Acharya, because this cosmic manifestation is happening repeatedly. So they've repeatedly had this connection. So Shambhu carries that glance into the womb, into the pradhan, and that manifests as the prakriti, the material nature. And that's the pradhan, or the material nature, is manifesting as Durga Ma, which is Shivji's wife. But he has the form of Shambhu. So the seed is carried into the womb of this material world by Shivji. So they're integrally connected together in the manifesting of all cosmic creation, of all the worlds. Unlimited billions of universes are manifesting from these two personalities, Mahavishnu and Shambhu. With the seed contains the jiva and time, which is impregnated into the pradhana and produces the prakriti, and from prakriti comes the mahatattva, and time is agitating the three modes of material nature, and then this material world becomes manifest. So this is the potency of these two extraordinary personalities that are fused into one for the sake of the jivas, for our welfare, which always touches our hearts on this particular day. Because what did Advaita Acharya do? He desired that only Sri Hari or Vishnu or Lord Narayan could actually rectify the condition, the deplorable condition of the conditioned souls in Kali Yuga at that time. Sri Vrindavan Das Thakur gives a very graphic description of the fallen nature at that time, how even the Brahmins were supporting dog marriages, male and female dogs marrying, and male and female cats marrying. They put them on a palanquin. I mean, so off track, so off, so degraded. So this was going on in front of Advaita Acharya. He was astonished at the degradation that had manifested in this Kali Yuga. So by his compassion, we sang this beautiful bhajan, Doya Koramori, this compassionate nature of Advaita Acharya. He wanted to rectify this situation. So he called, as Mangala Prabhu was saying, very, very loudly, even it's described rocking the throne of the Lord of Vaikuntha with his loud roars, while he was worshipping the Shalagram Shila with Tulsi Devi. He knew that Tulsi Devi and Shalagram are most dear to the Lord, and Ganga Devi also is most dear to the Lord. So with these three ingredients, he worshipped diligently. For some time he worshipped, but was calling very, very strongly. He is Mahavishnu. He is Sadashiva. How strongly are his prayers that could penetrate the Lord of Vaikuntha, who heard, and the Lord was planning to manifest at some point in this, because the Lord himself had an independent desire. The Lord's desire was to relish the greatness of Sri Radhika's love. Sri Radhaya Pranaya Mahima Kidri Shobhanaiva. We've been explaining this in our Ramananda Rai Sangvad. And he wanted to taste his own beautiful qualities that Radhika could taste. So he had his own agenda, Prem Ras Niryase Korite Ashvadam. He wanted to taste that particular prem. But at the same time, Rag Mag Bhakti Loke Korite Prajan, he wanted to benedict the jivas of this Kali Yuga with pure Shuddha Bhakti, Actually, Mahaprabhu wanted to benedict the jivas with even more than Shuddha Bhakti, but Advaita Acharya, he wanted just Shuddha Bhakti. So he called the Lord, and by the loud calling of the Lord advents, it's described as earlier than he was planning to arrive. So we today should all be immensely grateful that Advaita Acharya and his loud roaring connected with the Lord and called him. It's described as Vilmangala Prabhu was describing, when the Lord advented Advaita Acharya, he was dancing with Haridas Thakur. It was a lunar eclipse, and somehow the whole atmosphere became surcharged with joy and jubilation. And even the Muslims were calling out Hari, Hari, while they were taking their baths in the Ganga. Advaita Acharya couldn't understand this, neither could Haridas Thakur. But they were also feeling so infused with joy and jubilance, and they considered it must be the manifestation or birth of some exalted personality. They didn't know exactly who, but it's described. Now, this can be confusing if we don't appreciate the workings of Yogamaya. So Yogamaya is actually Sita Thakurani, who is the wife of Advaita Acharya. And when they heard that Sachimata and Jagannath Mishra, who were their dear friends, had given birth to an exalted, effulgent child, they immediately went to that place. They were inspired from their hearts to go to that place and take darshan of that young child. They took darshan of that effulgent personality. And Sita Thakurani, she calls the child Nimai because he's born under a neem tree, and to protect him because the previous 6 daughters of Sachimata had died at childbirth. So Jagannath Mishra and Sachimata were very afraid that they would lose their son. Vishwarup survived, and Vishwarup, the beautiful brother of Nimai, survived. But Sita Devi is described in Chaitanya Charitamrita in a very beautiful description, and also in Chaitanya Bhagavat, coming on a palanquin. And she gifts the young child, amongst many gifts, silk cloths and so on, a tiger tooth to protect him. And she chants many mantras to keep the witches, pischachis, away from anything auspicious happening to this child. And she names him Nimai, Nimai of Nadia. So later on he becomes called Nimai Pandit, but initially he's just child Nimai. So it seems that they both had darshan of this child and recognized this child to some degree, because it's actually described that during that occasion, many of the celestials, the devas, they actually came to that birth of Nimai, and it's described that these shadowy figures were around, that the local people became afraid, thinking they were ghosts or something, or chanting very loudly Hare Krishna. But the devas had come to have darshan because they knew who this person was. And Sita Devi understood to some degree, but then Yogamaya Devi covers both of them, because we know that later on, when Nimai was about 4 or 5 years old, he would come to the school of Advaita. Advaita lived in Shantipur originally, but then he moved to another home in Navadvip, near Srivasangam. And he would have a home there, and he would be teaching there, school. And Vishwarup would be one of his best students in that school. And sometimes young Nimai would come to bring Vishwarup, his brother, back for prasadam. And when he walked into the assembly of the school, Advaita Acharya would be dumbfounded and astonished by the absolute beauty of this child. And at that time, he would have an idea of who is the child, but then quickly Yogamaya again would cover him. So he didn't really have full confirmation that this child is the Supreme Lord that I've been calling for. But then a very wonderful thing happened. When Mahaprabhu goes to Gaya, when Mahaprabhu has met Sri Ishwara Puripad, Ishwara Puripad actually initially comes to the house in Shantipur of Advaita Acharya. But he comes not looking like a Vaishnava at all. He's just wearing dhoti kurta, and he's not making any exhibition of his great nature. He's keeping himself very, just like his Guru Maharaj. Madhavendra Puri was an extremely humble personality, and Advaita Acharya has been initiated by Madhavendra Puri. So actually Ishvara Puri is like his god brother, but Advaita Acharya suspected this person to be a very great Vaishnava. He didn't have any of the ornaments of a Vaishnava on him, but he looked like a Vaishnava. And then Advaita Acharya indicated, because Mukunda Datta was there at that time, to chant this beautiful verse, Baharapita Nata Varabapur Karaniyo Karanikaram. This verse in Venu Gita when Krishna is walking into the forest and all the trees are bowing down, etc. He has a Karnika flower in his ear. And when Ishvara Puri hears this beautiful verse, he goes into a total state of ecstasy, exhibiting very high sattvic bhavs, just like we heard the other day with Pundarik Vidyanidhi. They can't hold these bhavs in when some udipan or inspiration hits their hearts. So these sattvika bhavs manifested in a very full-blown way. And everyone immediately recognized, oh, this is a great, great devotee. Then they discovered his name and his lineage, etc., and hosted him opulently, etc. But at that time, Mahaprabhu meets him, but they don't really have a connection, significant connection at that time. But then when Mahaprabhu goes to Gaya to perform the Shraddha ceremony of his father, Jagannath Mishra, then as he's offering his the Pushpanjali in Gaya, suddenly Ishvara Puri is right there also, because Madhavendra Puri had an ashram in Gaya. He still has an ashram in Gaya. So that ashram is there. So Madhavendra Puri was there. And Mahaprabhu meets him and they have a very wonderful exchange. Mahaprabhu actually feeds him at that time. He cooks for him and he makes that significant connection, because when he returns from Gaya, Mahaprabhu now has become Mahaprabhu the devotee. Previously he was Nimai Pandit, but now he's become Nimai the devotee. And everything has changed in Nimai's mood. And then shortly after that, he declares himself to be that Supreme Lord, reveals his identity to all the devotees. And as Bilvamangala was saying, he sits on the throne of Vishnu. And then he calls, where is Nara? He calls for Nara is the name for Narayan. Nara actually means water, but he's calling Nara. The devotees can't understand. Who is he calling? Why is he calling Nara, Nara, Nara? And then he instructs Sri Ram, the brother of the son of the brother of Srivas Thakur, to go to Shantipur and quickly bring Advaita to honor and glorify him, because now he's revealing himself. As Bilvamangala Prabhu was saying, this Shata Praharya, this Shata Praharya pastime is taking place, this 21-hour kirtan. But Advaita Acharya, he wants to see clear proof that this is the Lord. For our sake, he performs this pastime. So he knows, and his wife, Sita Devi, certainly knows. So he tells Sri Ram to return, but tell him that Advaita Acharya is not coming. And then Advaita Acharya secretly comes and he hides in the house of Nandanandan. And then Mahaprabhu knows immediately where Advaita Acharya is hiding and testing him. So he sends again Sri Ram to go and tell Advaita immediately to come and bring all the paraphernalia for worship. So at that time, Advaita Acharya becomes absolutely ecstatic. And he and his devoted wife, Sita Thakurani, they both come with all the articles for worship, for puja. And this is described in the Chaitanya Bhagavat. And as Advaita Acharya is approaching Srivasangam, he has darshan directly of Nimai Pandit, but now it's Lord Narayan, and he sees the entire sky is packed with celestials worshipping Lord Narayan, all the elements in their Swarup forms, all the eternal personalities are all there worshipping Lord Narayan. And many of the devas have all their chariots there, and it's described, very beautiful description in Chaitanya Bhagavat, how the absolute opulence of the Lord is revealed to Advaita Acharya this time, because Advaita Acharya has the adhikar to be able to see that. He's Mahavishnu and he's Sadashiva. So him and Sita Thakurani, they witness this. And now the whole world now understands that this is the personality who Advaita Acharya had called for our sake. Then it's described later on how it's described very beautifully in Chaitanya Charitamrita, in the 6th chapter, Adi Leela, which is all about Advaita Acharya, the exceptional mood of seva. Because as I've already said, Advaita Acharya was the disciple of Madhavendra Puri, who is the Param Guru of Mahaprabhu. So Mahaprabhu has to show the proper etiquette in his honoring Advaita Acharya. So all the time he's giving great respect and honor to Advaita Acharya. But Advaita Acharya knows he is my supreme Lord. He is that Narayan who I am worshipping, who Mahavishnu is worshipping. Mahavishnu is one of the first Purusha avatar from Lord Narayan. 3 Purusha avatars. There's Karanadakshay Vishnu, Garbhadakshay Vishnu, Shiradakshay Vishnu. So this is manifesting from Lord Narayan. So this is certainly his master. But because Mahaprabhu is in this covered incarnation of being a devotee, he's honoring Advaita. And Advaita Acharya is feeling most uncomfortable. He doesn't like this at all. He wants the bliss of seva. The bliss of seva is the sweetest, most tasteful bliss. This is the seva that Sri Radhika ultimately has for Krishna. Therefore, her bliss is higher than Krishna's bliss because she's performing this seva. She reaches this stage of Atiruddha Mahabhava, as we've discussed. But Advaita Acharya, he also wants to serve like this. So in his ashram in Shantipur, one day, he starts to speak Mayavad philosophy. He starts to speak the philosophy of Sankaracharya, and we are all one, and Aham Brahmasmi, like this. And then immediately Mahaprabhu knows what's happening, and he rushes to that place in great anger. Mahaprabhu is angry, and he grabs Advaita Acharya off his asan, and he begins to beat him very heavily. So heavily, in fact, that Sita Thakurani has to run out and restrain him and grab him. No, you'll beat the old man to death, she says. And Advaita Acharya becomes so ecstatic. Now he has reached the place where he wanted to reach. Now his Lord is chastising him. Now he's feeling completely satisfied. Now he's feeling in the inferior position that in his heart he's feeling. Now he has a chance to be the sevak of this personality. So there's some very beautiful, beautiful verses that I want to read here directly because Krishnadas Kaviraj, he captures it so well. And he starts to speak about the glories of service that Advaita Acharya now feels and considers himself as to be the servant of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And this mood of service is the mood of bhakti. Bhakti bhaje comes from the verb bhaje, to serve. So everything about Advaita Acharya is one of service because he is propagating Shuddha Bhakti. He's actually not propagating Brajaras. Mahaprabhu is propagating that. Neither is Nityananda propagating Brajaras, but they are indicating where to get Brajaras through Mahaprabhu, through their master Mahaprabhu. They are directing in that way. So we should understand Advaita Acharya is preaching, teaching. A teacher, Acharya, that's why he's called Acharya. And he's one, Advaita, with that Supreme Lord, Mahavishnu. So he's one, Advaita Acharya. So But he's not preaching Brajaras, understand this clearly, but he's directing all of us to Advaita Acharya by performing the angas of Shuddha Bhakti, pure Bhakti. So this Bhaje, Bhakti, this is the meaning. So there's a beautiful verse in the Adi Lila, chapter 6, verse 42. And it's saying, Sri Advaita Acharya, however, considers Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu his master, and he thinks of himself as a servant of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He forgets himself in the joy of that conception and teaches all living entities, you are servants of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So he himself has to come to this position of being a servant. Then he says, the conception of servitude to Sri Krishna generates such an ocean of joy in the soul that even the joy of oneness with the Absolute, if multiplied 10 million times, cannot compare to a drop of it. The bliss of oneness with the Lord in the Brahmajyoti, it's full of bliss. Brahma Bhuta Sanatma, Prasanatma, it's full of bliss in the Brahmajyoti, but it's nothing compared to the bliss that can be achieved by seva. So this seva is bhakti. This is the distinction between the jnanis and the bhaktas. We have these three paths of Gyan Kand, Karma Kand, Gyan Kand, and Bhakti Kand, the path of Bhakti. So then Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj goes on, he says, Nityananda and I are servants of Lord Chaitanya. We know in the Panchatattva, there are three Vishnu Tattvas, Nityananda, Gaurasundar himself, Mahaprabhu, and Advaita Acharya. And then there is Jiva Tattva in the form of Srivas Thakur. Then there is Shakti Tattva in the form of Gadadhar Pandit. So all these five, the Panchatattva, are there. We are so fortunate to have this current manifesting from these persons. Time is going. Nityananda says, Nityananda and I are servants of Lord Chaitanya. Nowhere else is there such joy as that which is tasted in this emotion of servitude. And then he says, all the associates of Lord Krishna, such as Brahma, Shiva, Narad, Shuka, and Sanatan Kumar, are very pleased in the sentiment of servitude. It goes on in this chapter to even talk about Nanda Baba himself is totally blissful in a mood of service to his divine son, Krishna. Even though he's thinking conclusively that this is my son, still he longs to serve his son. So does Yashodamai. They serve him. So this mood of service is there constantly. There's one particular verse I'm looking for here. Just bear with me and I'll get to it. He's saying, Sri Chaitanya, yes, all are praying to become servants of Mahaprabhu. So there's one particular verse where it's expressing, encapsulating this. Oh, here. This is verse 86. Chaitanyara Dasha Muni, Chaitanyara Das, Chaitanyara Dasa Muni, Tanra Daser Das. And this is meaning, I am a servant of Lord Chaitanya, a servant of Lord Chaitanya. I am a servant of Lord Chaitanya and a servant of his servants. Advaita Acharya himself was the most senior Vaishnava in the whole of the area of Shantipur where he resided. He was the most, and the Brahmanas of Navadvip also. He was the most, he was 60 years older than Mahaprabhu. He manifested at the beginning of the 15th century, about the 1420s. And he left his body in the 16th century. He lived for 120 years. But this mood of service, and we know that Krishna wants himself to be the servant. When he's with Sri Radhika, Radhika understands this bliss of seva. So she manifests her Manini Radha. She goes into Man with, so Krishna has to roll up his sleeves and serve Sri Radhika. This is giving Krishna the greatest bliss when he's able to serve Sri Radhika in Vrindavan. So this mood of service is the mood that Advaita Acharya, in the form of distributing Shuddha Bhakti, which means service to the Supreme Lord, is distributing, and we remember him on this particular day. On this day, we remember with great gratitude and great humility the seva that Mahavishnu and Sadashiva perform through the personality of Advaita Acharya in bringing Mahaprabhu into this world at this time and demonstrating the pure act of Shuddha Bhakti, distributing Shuddha Bhakti to the conditioned souls so that they can have the fortune to come to the lotus feet of Sriman Mahaprabhu and get Braja Prem. So that's the line, that's the current from Madhavendra Puri, Ishwara Puri, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. It's all connected, as we've said many times in our Rai Ramananda Sangbad. All the tattvas and siddhanta, they're all connecting with each other in this mood of Shuddha Bhakti, ultimately receiving the gift of Braja Prem, and ultimately this Svabhakti Shriyam, this service to Sri Radhika. As amazing, this is such a high conception to want to be a Palya Dasi of Sri Radhika wasn't even on the map basically before Mahaprabhu advented. That was just 500 years ago. And now we're begging to become a Palya Dasi of Sri Radhika. Prior to Mahaprabhu's advent, Shuddha Bhakti was there to Lord Narayan, not even understanding who was Brajendra Nandan Shyam Sundar. So what an enormity of transformation of consciousness has been inaugurated by Mahaprabhu through the mercy of Advaita Acharya, calling him, and the mercy of Nityananda Prabhu, supporting him in this preaching. So seva is demonstrated. And with this seva comes immense compassion. The Vaishnavas, it's described, feels pain when he sees others' pain. He feels pain at the discomfort of any jiva. This is the nature of a Vaishnava. A Vaishnava will feel pain, will feel sympathy. His heart will break. And if it's not breaking, then our Vaishnava Atar is not very progressed. It hasn't developed very much. This mood of service, as our acharyas have all demonstrated. My Gurudev traveled around the world 33, 34 times something, just trying to give these conceptions to the fallen conditioned souls. So this is compassion. This is real compassion. So today we are so blessed with this opportunity to offer some Pushpanjali to the most compassionate, most merciful personality of Advaita Acharya. This is the first of the secondary reasons why Mahaprabhu advents. He comes because of the loud calling of Advaita Acharya. He comes for his own independent desire first to taste prem, but he also comes to benedict the jivas. Rag, Mag, Bhakti, Loke, Karite, Prajan. And it's Advaita Acharya who is the link and the catalyst for him manifesting at this time. So Advaita Acharya Prabhu ki jai. Mahavishnu Prabhu ki jai. Sadashiva ki jai. Gaur Premanandi. I would encourage you all to read these verses in the Adi Leela, chapter 6, from text 86 onwards. It's describing the service of Nanda Baba, the service of Yashoda Mai, the service of all these personalities. So bhakti means service. Gaur Premanandi, Hari Hari Bol. So we'll have a little kirtan and then we'll go. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Nitai Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Gaura Hari Bol. Nitai Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Gaura Hari Bol. Go Prenandi, Hari Hari Bol. Vancha Kalpa Tarubhyascha, Kripa Sindhuvevacha, Patitanam Pavanibhyo, Vaishnavebhyo, Namo Namaha. Advaita Acharya Prabhu Ki Jai. Go Prenandi, Hari Hari Bol.